On my way towards setting up the strong attack on Namur, put the Belgians, this French unit down. I'm like, oh, la la la, that's great. I'd actually been a little confused because everything, the entire first line is turn 8 stuff. But then I went back to get a new pipe or whatever after I got the Belgians and the French down, I think, and then just started filling this one in instead. One nice thing, this kind of counter sheet, I can put the pieces back in it, and they're relatively, I'm beginning to get used to how to find the pieces at least while I'm setting up all these games. I'm just, I really doubt that I'm going to store the games in the counter sheets. I stopped doing that for almost everything. I'm trying to think. The one game I may still do it in is Rand's Great War. It may make sense here, but I don't think it will after I do the Grand Campaign, because I'll just have to fill in too many of these, 10 sheets worth of them. And I just don't know. But while I'm doing these little ones, once more into the breach and all, at least it's going to be another siege situation. Without a lot of Belgian and French troops, so I can focus again on trying to get units to the front and deal with that. But I gotta say, the counter clutter and all that's going on, just the amount of stuff that's going on to try to come up with, and then the stupid movement allowances that are too fucking big and all kind of shit like that. And it's like, yeah, it's just, I don't know. I try to convince myself for a moment, but I've got to bang my head against the wall until I can get enough out of it that, like, I can try the big thing, is how I feel. And they gave me all these damn learning scenarios, so I'm like, maybe I can drill it into myself how to play this. Maybe I can get used to, all the shit that's going on. I haven't decided. I tried playing the first one with facings, but to some extent I'm like, the second one I didn't give a shit about them, but they didn't matter. The next one, they will matter, this Marshes of Saint-Gouin. But yeah, I'm going to have to figure out what the fuck to do with all these. Oops. Okay, this one's only supposed to take an hour. The last one was an hour and a half. Feels like it takes a half hour to move a piece in it, but... So this is going to be a continuation of the Liege battle, and if, with what I was doing, I did worse than historically, I guess. So anyway, according to, actually I did succeed barely. Okay, so the Germans are allowed to make one failed attempt. It says the Belgians are not allowed to make any. What the fuck? Why do I have these here then? Just put them up here. These are marked at zeros. The Germans are allowed to make one failed entrenchment attempt. The 13th RD will remain in Liege. That's one of the German units. It's going to be the garrison there. Remember, there's a requirement to leave a garrison whenever you take an encampment. Units belonging to the AOK3. Okay, this is not defined in any way I can see. I could paw through the counter mix and see maybe the general. I'm guessing it's 3rd Army. I don't know about that AOK. I couldn't find any reference to that. Could be Army of War, I have absolutely no idea what that stands for. Are exempted from maintaining command range, and the German infantry divisions, which I believe are the ones from this army, I think this is the proper army. It's the one without a leader, without a headquarters, so it would make sense. Are exempted from some other restrictions, which probably have to do with command and control. And I'm not going to look it up. I'm fucking sick of it. Like, this is gonna break one way or the other. I'm either going to be able to play it and maybe not know all the rules while I'm doing it, or I'm just gonna say fuck it, and whatever. Namur's Enk is fully operational. Okay, that means I don't have the reduced whatever little crenellations instead of jagged lines. Same as in the last one, the Belgian unit. By the way, I mean, I set up the forts and these things, but it's not until turn 1 that I get to set up the units. But they're all set up in fixed locations. I don't understand a game that, like, the first turn doesn't count. Fucking crazy shit. It's like... There's a lot of little shit in here that I don't like. There's a lot of it that's mechanically complex. The combat system is mechanically complex. I like it, kinda. Get rid of some of the aspects of it, like the stupid amounts of strength points and stuff. You don't need that degree of accuracy when you're making some kind of estimate on the units. You just don't. Anyway, the movement points are far more annoying to me, but the strength points are kind of ridiculous too. They're just so big. And then the different odds differentiations. It's like, yeah, there are other ways of balancing that kind of stuff. You don't have to do it that way. The Belgian unit, once it loses a step, it has to run off the board and it can't do anything. French units don't have to maintain a line of communication. So a lot of rules are just being withdrawn from this one. SARs are subject to the ammunition rules, and it tells me where these counters are. This is not really a special rule. But it doesn't come into effect until game turn 8. Or maybe it only comes into effect on game turn 8. I don't know. That doesn't make sense. But whatever. Germans are connected to their networks with the HCR, Liege to Aachen. They control the railroads up to the limit of, and again, this doesn't make a hell of a lot of sense to me. I guess this is my main route coming out. I hit here, I hit here, I hit here, and I make it all the way down to there. And somehow I've conquered all that stuff. During the 8th, 9th, and 10th game turn, the Germans cannot enter 2 hexes, AB31 and AC31. Well, I really ought to mark those with something. That's these 2 hexes. I'm just going to put that there to remind me that the Germans can't go there into either of those 2 hexes. What are the victory conditions? I have to get rid of all 9 forts in Namur, and I'm not allowed to lose more than 3 infantry steps. So I have to track casualties in this one. The 14th RD has to be present in Namur. So there's a specific unit that I need to garrison with. If I lose that unit, I lose the game. Feels a little goofy. It is this thing that comes in here. Why would that be particularly necessary? I don't know. It's not, you would think you would garrison with like a weakened unit or something. But whatever. That unit, the commander, he knows of a specific brothel there and it's important to him, whatever. And there's no allied unit in the Namur Enk. Now, given that this is like a 4-step unit, it's really unlikely I'm going to lose the whole thing. So, but I should just have to leave 1 unit in there. I don't have to get things off the map or anything like that, but I do have to get myself into place. We are going to do that first turn so that I can mark the playthrough. And I don't know, tomorrow I might be so discouraged by this that it's easy for me to go shopping, actually. So there's that at least. So there's the initial setup. We're going to break, but unfortunately the German garrison unit is underneath a bunch of other units. So it's like, oh great. But anyway, maybe I'll remember, maybe I won't. Maybe I'll move it and use it. Who the fuck cares? I prepare myself for shopping. I'm down here, like, mentally. I got up kind of late. It's close to 9, so I want to go soon, but there's a few things I want to do. One of them is just kind of get used to the day. I went out and I put some water on stuff, and I forgot. I came in here, started working on this turn. I'm supposed to turn the water off as soon as I come in. But I want to get this first turn, the second turn, whatever, out of the way as well. There doesn't look like there's anything too exciting in terms of movement or whatnot here. Except I've got the restrictions on these. I want to capture rail net. I look at my guns, none of them are those yellow boxes, so none of them are going to be restricted to moving only on the rail net, which is a big deal, because right now the rail net doesn't take me very far. So yeah, I guess I do kind of what I can. Supply ranges, what I'm finding is these little maps, they're providing me, remember, it's like 100 movement points. That's like 10 clear hexes back to the high capacity rail. And the headquarters have ranges of like 5. So I can pretty much keep everything in line on these tiny maps. It's not really a big worry, which is why I haven't been going too much into it. Anyway, I'm just going to move some Germans forward. Hope I come up with something reasonable. I can't enter these 2 hexes, but I feel like I have to start plowing stuff as fast as possible. This one is only 5 game turns. The last one was an 8 game turn sequence. So this is going to be pretty tight, I think. These damn rail controls were double-sided. So what I'm trying to express is this this unit moved up to here. Okay, fine. I can control up to here, I guess. It's kind of complicated because the image for the map shows the German player up here. He doesn't seem to control the railroads here. It's coming out of this Liege to Aachen railway. So I can control up to here. That's fine. But then I want to express that I got this. I don't have these hexes, or sorry, yeah, these 2 hexes. Actually, I have this hex. I don't have this hex under control. But with all the splits and everything, what would really be much more easily defined, like, it's the fact that the French own these 2 that's of importance, and this one. And I don't feel like this clearly expresses it. I don't know. Because, like, these 2 together are trying to show that this little piece of line is there, but that nothing further up. It's just, I feel like I need more, and there's no reason why these couldn't be multi-sided so that you could use them both ways to express where things are more complicated. I don't know. I have I have a headquarters and one last pioneer to move. And then I have to remember to bring in my reinforcement because he can't move. What I thought was simple, I'm not so sure is. A couple of the units that I moved went across the Meuse. Okay. There's railway bridges all over here. There's no other kind of bridge. I assume troops could walk over bridges, but the only bridge that's being shown is a road bridge. And when I start thinking about troops marching along the railway bridge, I'm wondering, well, I mean, that should affect the trains to some extent. So now I'm going to have to go look that up. They only show this fucking one type of bridge again and again and again. Look here, can only be crossed at bridges. So I think the only way I can get across is by entraining and detraining, which means then I have to look up those rules, even though I'm barely crossing. I've got like 8 steps trying to go across a rail thing, and I'm just pissed off because I thought I could get this done real quick. There was only going to be movement, but no. Rivers are impenetrable in this. Could I have crossed here? See, I see no bridges in the city either. That's impossible for me to believe. That's the problem. Like, but the only thing it shows for bridges again and again and fucking again is one goddamn picture which doesn't exist anywhere, which is the road bridge, which is a bridge where there's no rail. I don't know. I'm just not buying that you have to entrain to cross those bridges, but I'm also disturbed that there's no impact. Like, I mean, you can close a railway bridge and the troops can march across it, and it's just as easy, or almost as easy, as a regular bridge. Put some shit down, you know, some plywood or something, and it's almost as easy. I don't see it. I guess we'll look again. Sadly, the only examples that the game gives is the Liege examples. Now, was this a major river on Liege? I don't know. Feels like it's made out of the stuff of the cards from I mean, it is the Meuse. It is the same river. Is this a major river? I'm not convinced either way, to be honest. What's our difference? Where's our pictures? Minor river looks like this. I think I was treating the Meuse as a minor river on the last scenario because it kind of looked like it. I mean, it was the only kind of... Well, no, here's what a minor river would look like. So this would have been a major river. So I would have definitely not been able to cross up here, where I did with no problem. Boy, I think Liege is just about fucking impossible to take. Because the only crossings are within it. Damn. Yeah, there's... I wouldn't have been able to take it. But I'm just assuming I can cross the rail bridges. The only other thing is I could entrain and detrain, and if I look at the... And maybe that makes sense because it ties up the bridge, but I think it also ties up other stuff. No. Do I have a maximum number of things that can be entrained? I don't know. Can I find anything in this fucking rule book? There we go. Okay, so I look in the Liege one, I guess, for whether or not they can cross the river, but that doesn't help me with the rails. Yeah, I don't know. That really doesn't help is all of the maps for this are printed upside down they're taking snapshots as if it's like this. Which just annoys the shit out of me. But I'm not seeing anybody crossing here. I'm seeing attacks into the city. I'm seeing attacks here. I'm seeing attacks here. They're never crossing the Meuse. So I cheated by doing that. We don't see anybody getting across there. Don't see anybody getting across there. And now we're in the city. And honestly, you wouldn't be able to attack even, I think. I don't know. Who the fuck knows with this shit? Let's see the effect. So you wouldn't be able to attack without major river without bridge or flooded banks. Oh look, you can attack across it, you just can't move across it. What kind of bullshit is that? That's just fucking weird. Like the idea that like you could use boats or something for an assault, but you wouldn't be able to use them for an unprotected crossing. That feels like garbage. But attacking across a bridge would be horrible. On the other hand, those are combat modified. They don't impact the assault with artillery. We don't have any terrain in that. And given that you can attack across without bridges, my guess is that you could assault across where there's no bridges. Who the hell knows? Anyway, I'm just saying I can walk across the railway bridges. As long as it's uncontested. Because it's making things easier. But again, you know, I got no idea if that's what's intended or not. I could see the entraining and detraining being required. The problem, of course, with that is I think I had to capture some of those hexes, but I don't remember anymore. I don't remember where my map is, where I am. Does this show the map? Yeah, it does. My rail net did not go across the river, so I wouldn't be able to do that. But fuck it. I can't cope with this shit. This game is just... It's got too many problems that I'm running into where things aren't adequately explained, and then it's just too much and too off the wall in too many ways. Before I fucking forget, AB 36. What makes that noise? There's like something that makes... Oh, it's this tarp thing. I ran into it last time. AB... Here? I've got a unit appearing there? What kind of fucking crap is that? So, I mean, that screws everything up. Why would a unit appear here? Is it floating down the river? I had stacking room for it. Nothing's able to attack, I think. Even the pioneers would have to... would be able to... I would have to declare the ABF beforehand. That's going to put me on the Belgian turn, and I am sick of this, and maybe if I go shopping, I'll feel better about coming back to it. But this thing is just becoming more and more of an annoyance. Like, and I feel like until I get it to the big map, I'm not giving it a fair try. They give all these learning scenarios and everything. But I'm making shit up about, like, the bridges. I don't know. I don't know what they intend. And the examples do not show it. Is it Does it make sense to me that the railway bridges would not be crossable by infantry? No, it doesn't. They would be crossable no matter what. Does it make sense to me that I can't cross a major river unless I'm attacking? No. That does not make any fucking sense. Matter point, if I've got that right, all that work to try to make this game so detailed and realistic, I mean, just throw it away. It's fucking garbage if you can't get, something like, well, if you can fight your way across the river, but you can't use those same boats or whatever you're using to actually just ferry the troops across. Maybe it takes the whole movement allowance to get them across. I don't care. It's just, there's got to be something if you can fight through it. What's the actuality, though? It's not as simple as I think it is. You can fight. You can use your entire combat ability. That's not combat ability. I don't know what it is. Cab is the combat ability. That's the thing I test. It's something else. I don't know what it's called. Combat factor, which is CBF. I never see it in things, so yeah, you can use your entire combat factor of like an infantry or a cav unit to attack across. Now there's a huge penalty for doing so, but you're not allowed to advance. So it is a little different. It's like you're doing some sort of close-in fighting across the river line or something, but I mean, that doesn't sound completely believable to me. So you're not actually creating, although I guess you can't advance. I don't know if you can do an assault. Could I do an ABF across the river? I don't know. It's not explained well enough, and it's not brought together. It's too parsimonious to give you an idea of what they're trying to do, and where it's kind of fuzzy or whatever, it's just not working. It felt like it was fine when I was reading it, but I'm finding myself all too often digging into the rules, not being able, eventually being able to figure out something. This one I don't know if I can. The answer of whether or not you can cross at the railroad bridges for anything. It doesn't make sense if you can't, but yeah. All right, I'm done for now. I don't know if I'm going to make it to that big map. Down here, I managed to go shopping. I can't tell, right? Is this game particularly painful in and of itself? Or have I changed? Have I gotten stupider? Is kind of the worry that I have. I know that there are aspects of this that are more annoying to me, and that builds into, and frustration and whatnot works into something which makes it just harder and harder to face and harder to approach it properly. But I'm not sure I could still approach like La Grande Guerre or a Europa Universalis nowadays. That 25 years or whatever, and possibly, of all things, being online too much. I was seeing something where like kids are beginning to show signs of dementia, and it's correlating with online usage. There's no way to prove this because you'd have to, do some kind of massive control study where you don't allow where you don't allow a large segment of people growing up to have access to the internet and whatnot. But yeah, it's frightening, and on the other hand, I am getting older and whatnot. I don't know. I'm gonna keep trying to batter my head against the wall. I mean, again, part of it is this is an operational game that is focusing on aspects that I do not see as that interesting and enthralling and important to me. But I'm also seeing places where I'm having trouble finding stuff in the rules, and that's the kind of thing that I'm not sure that I'm as clever as I used to be. I don't know. I mean, but again, this is more than 10 years ago. I made it through a world at war, right? But that was a struggle too. I don't know. All right, let me figure out where the Belgians are going to shoot. I was bothered enough by the bridges thing. I went upstairs, looked, because the errata I have has almost nothing. It almost looks like there's additional stuff, but I don't know. I'm looking through questions and whatnot. But I decided to look up under bridge. BGG is so fucking annoying to search. Under bridge, you know, but I need to search by the game, right? And nothing comes up of any use except, yeah, you can attack across a major river without a bridge and you just can't advance, which... Then the designer put something forth about, like, how the units in August 1914 were able to cross rivers without, you know, slowly, no doubt, but without having a bridge there. Well, if that's the case, why are they immobile? Like, why are you unable to move across them? Why is it impassable terrain? I don't know. But you know what I did find out? The Liège and Namur maps, and the Liège one looked about the same. You know, it's a little further. And the Meuse was specifically called out. This is just a normal river. As are these. They look really different. They look seriously different, as does this. Like, some of them look a lot thicker. I looked back to the only place where there's a fucking close thing to a key. And again, this is what's pissing me off. So the road bridge looks like it's going across a thick river. Major river, looks like it's thick. But here's this. River single or double. Now, I don't know what's up here. Bridges can exist on some rivers or a little space around the pond. I don't know what the fuck they're talking about that. Minor river. Okay, so we've got a difference between a river, a major, and a minor river. That's what we're seeing here. These are just rivers. The major rivers are a darker color, as shown here. I'm expecting there won't be too many. It still doesn't answer my question of whether or not you can use rail bridges to cross. I could not find an answer to that. Nobody seems to... you know, obviously there's a bridge there where the rail is crossing. There's a reason to say you couldn't use it, and I don't know enough about the terrain to know whether there would be a road bridge at the same place as the rail bridge is. There's a high likelihood that there would be. Like, I can't imagine a city the size of Liège or Namur not having a bridge going across to get from one end to the other, but whatever. And I think the only way I can do this is to say the rail bridges count as, or the rail crossings over rivers, because they're never called out as bridges in the terrain effects chart. The only thing that's shown as a bridge is this stupid little road bridge thing. Whatever it's called. They call it a bridge, right? Now maybe they're showing one here. Crossing a major river, hexside with a destroyed bridge. It's hard to tell because there's this big destroyed bridge over it, and I think, yeah, there's an actual bridge there. Not sure there's a rail line there. There's some kind of line there. I don't know. Impossible to see. What do we got here? Got canals, crossing a river, single or double. Okay, so I may have been looking at some minor rivers, and maybe they don't have an effect. I don't know. Which makes me look at tactical. No, that's not going to help. Okay, here we got minor river or canal, and that's what I was charging before. We've got rivers, marshes at plus 12, major river at plus 18. Okay, so for this scenario, I don't need to answer the question. For any other scenarios, I'm on the side of, look, if that bridge is there and it's not destroyed, but here's the problem. Railway features that are destroyed aren't bridges as far as I know. Or remember, they're like these little doinkers or something, are what you indicate where rails are destroyed. So we've got bridge and railroad destruction. Got a rail going across here. I don't know what the color means. That's the type of structure it is. But I guess that's also a bridge crossing a major river, which could be permanently destroyed, which would suck. Or not. You could get a big... I don't know why this is 12 plus 6. That seems weird too. Like, why is that not just 18? Isn't that what 12 plus 6 is? I don't know. Do we have something here that helps me? Like, when I see things like that 12 plus 6, I'm like, okay, what the fuck are we talking about here? I mean, really, what are we talking about? This needs to be better explained. It's not, I don't remember it. And if I look, we got these that have 12s on them. Let me see if we have red ones. I thought we did. I thought we had things that went up to 18. We don't. The backside of these is permanently destroyed. So I guess you're going to put two different things, the reddish colored and the orange. Now, I don't know. I think the type of location is color coded. I don't know. Structures encompass all specific railway structures. 4.3. Those are places where you can get on the train. I don't think you just rip up rail. 4.3, railway network, specific railway structures. These things, they have a letter in them, which I think probably translates like T somehow means critical, V somehow means important, whatever, which probably is from French. I don't have a horrible problem with that. So that's that, but can I just destroy the railway itself? I don't think so. I can only destroy structures, and they cause a network interruption. This feels a little weird because it feels like with 2 days, two-day turns, I should be able to rip up some rail, cause an issue, even in a hex where there's no structure. Now, is there no structure in any of these hexes? Yeah, that's a hard question. Because, let's look here. This has to be the V that's been destroyed. I don't know where the other one is. Let's take a look at the other map. I seem to remember Liege having like things destroyed that weren't really structures. Yeah, that's the Namur. Okay, where's Liege? Here we are on Liege. Now on Liege, strangely enough, the map is face up here. It's face down or facing the wrong way in the Pleiades in the same book. So we look here. We're looking at. There's a T and a V in the same hex. That's these two. One of those two is destroyed, I guess, or is damaged, I guess, the V. And then the hex above it also has a letter. Yeah, I don't see, like, they're not destroying the town or anything along those lines. So that's not an issue, I guess. But yeah, there's no answer about whether rail lines are bridges to any sense of the word that I've been able to find. And I mean, maybe it's in there because nobody else is asking, but it feels pretty fucked up to me. I feel like there's intrinsically a bridge, but on the other hand, I can't destroy those bridges unless they're crossing a major river. But I can destroy tunnels. What is V? This is the thing. What is this? It looks like a bridge right there, right? I don't know. It's not going to make any difference to the major river, right? Because there's no movement point cost to that, I think. I mean, I'm lost. I'm constantly lost because I'm constantly looking things up and asking questions. And it's kind of like analysis paralysis. It's rules paralysis. I'm unable to do anything because I keep looking shit up. So what do we got here? We have a minor river or canal. That's a hexide terrain. Yeah, we got to look for the movement. Movement's over here. Okay, great. Not on the same chart. Very helpful. I mean, it kind of is, because if I'm looking at combat, I'm not looking at movement, but it's also fucking so different. All right. So it looks to me like I'm able to move through anything other than a major river out of these. And like flooded banks is weird. Normal movement can't make it across. Only guys who are like, I don't know, more exuberant or mountain units. Whatever. So where am I? Oh yeah, I'm looking to see where my artillery battery fire is going to go. Now, ideally, I think I want to drop it into this hex. Just because I can get I can combine, but I have to see what the strength is. So, that's so much of this is having to paw through stacks, counting up, all the fire factors and everything. It's just, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, that's a matter of taste, right? What do you want in it? And I just shake my head wondering who wanted this. Who wanted this? But some people do. Another thing, which I didn't see in the rules, but is factored into, and it may be covered under the word units, and that forts aren't units, okay, is forts aren't multiplied by the defenses. I've been doing that. They're just added in, I guess. So my numbers were wrong in the Liege one. 22 fire going into here. That means I can hit everything, maybe, sort of, kind of. Oh, let's look for modifiers. It's so much fun looking up charts of modifiers all over the place. It is just so much fun having, like, lists of modifiers as opposed to, I don't know what. This is what I hated about Summerstorm, too. Not using any of these. Let's look up here. Tactical modifiers to an ABU. What's an ABU? I don't know. That's what I'm trying to do, I guess. Terrain modifiers. Why are they different? I don't think there's any terrain. So let's jump down to tactical. I'm using more. So am I using more than one unit? Yeah, I'm using both of these. But you know what? If I don't use this one, now I'm being strict about units. The forts will not be units. I've been treating them as units. Okay, so I don't get the +1 because I don't throw this unit in, because 2 points isn't worth doing. And somewhere I'm allowed 3. Forts are allowed to fire at really limited value, but I don't see that as worthwhile. I don't know if I've got a Har or a French 120 with a cav or infantry. That's going to... Okay, so this is fucked up. Do I have to make an ABU roll against each unit, or is it against the stack as a whole? I've been doing it against the stack as a whole. boy, is it annoying if I have to make a roll for each fucking unit. Problem with me putting the counters back in, they fall back out. This was why I stopped doing it in Great War. I really liked storing them in there, but yeah, it's not gonna work here. It'll find its way back in. I'm distracted enough I don't remember what I'm doing. Yeah, I'm looking to see if I've got I'm looking to see if I have to fire on each unit individually. Like not, but the modifiers are individual. The results of an ABU are resolved by the roll of a d20. The result must then be divided by 2. Now resolve the results for each impacted unit one after the other, taking into account the individual modifiers. Okay, so we found our answer. I don't know if I have HARs or bars or jars or cabs or fabs or whatever the fuck this game is filled with. All the 3-letter acronyms you can possibly think of, all of which kind of run together. I can remember a couple of them. 2 of my units have this symbol on it. What is that? Damned if I know. So now, we put our, I don't know, do we need this here? I'm on the wrong page anyway, probably. I probably need to be on a different page. I don't know what. Fuck it. So now we look here, and we see that that is, I don't know, it's a thing. I think it's a SAR, which means it's going to be affected by, and where do I tell, these are HARs. They're a lighter print job. But so that means they will have a +5 on the tactical modifier chart because there is infantry in there with them. And that's it. And now I make a single roll. I think I was on 20. I don't know. I don't care. I get a 4, which gets me to a +3. With those 2 units at +8, and I'll make the fucking checks. What? I gotta write everything fucking down or I can't remember it anymore. There was no effect on anything. So now, I guess I go, yeah, this would have been effects on cabs. I guess I go to turn 10. Now, does that make sense? We started on turn 8. Obviously, the first turn of the game, nothing can happen. Turn 9 just happened. We're done with that. We're on turn 10. That's fair. We're there, and I am so frustrated trying to fire one shot that I'm done again for a while. This is miserable. Just miserable. Funny, it's the kind of feeling that I guess people get when they look at war games in general. Like, it's just there must be some line where there's people who like this. There are people who are, trying to play it. Not just me. There's people who've rated it very highly. It's just this huge matter of taste, but it's like, wow, this is not how the hobby was at all. I mean, and then I can get into the, I remember those guys I used to play minis with who were like, yeah, I liked board war games, back the old Avalon Hill ones from the early 70s or whatever, and then everything got too complicated and everything, and I'm kind of like, it's me now? I don't get how far things are going. It's just, wow. And again, I was someone who liked my big complicated games. I really do. I feel like this has just gone beyond in terms of the mechanical and other complexity that it's trying to handle. And I feel the same way with Summer Storm, where it's just like both of them felt like they're throwing the fucking kitchen sink in, trying to get everything, so perfect. And I know, at least for me, there is no way I can play these games well enough in terms of just following the rules, possibly, But beyond that, with SummerStorm, I feel like I'm mostly sticking to the rules here, mostly, even though I'm just starting out. But with SummerStorm, I was just like, I'm missing modifiers every time I run through this fucking long list. And maybe if I get more comfortable with this, it'll be like that. And it's obviously less realistic than something that didn't make those huge lists of modifiers and all these special cases and everything. And then, there's 3 or 4 rules that are like, this unit has this special thing to it. It's just like, was that necessary? I mean, that's the stuff, like, I make fun of SummerStorm, and for that, it's because of the huge list of modifiers. This, I feel, is close in terms of the lists of modifier. It splits them up into different places, which I don't know if that's good or bad. I can complain, but I can also see points that maybe make that easier to digest at certain times. But it sure the hell didn't have, and this is the 4th Brigade, the 3rd Regiment of the 4th Brigade, and because they didn't have shoelaces, their movement allowance is slightly less, even though movement allowance isn't on the counters for some reason. And it would be along that line. That's what the special rules in this feel like. It's just like, oh, come on. Really? Really? So here we are on the 10th turn. This is after reveling a little bit. Mainly just sitting outside. Had a beer and a martini, cigar. I sort of got convinced into staying longer. So listening to some music, reading, all that kind of stuff. I'm back to play a little bit. Had a little nap too. It's almost evening now. Well, it is evening now. It's almost darkening now. And I guess let's move some Germans around. We don't have the heat this turn, which is a pity. It helps me break up those Belgians, but lines of communication look good. We're not going to be able to play with any structures. All right, it's time to declare our barrages. This is kind of complicated because I got to clear the Belgian units out. I might want to just try to blow up some forts while I'm at it, though. Improve my chances. Let me see what I got. Things get tricky, and on this tiny scenario, it's not a big deal. But I got like 3 units here. They get me to a 52. That's a pretty good firepower. I'm going to go with that against one of the forts. Technically, I have to mark that, not with one of these assault markers. Is this an ARF assault, which doesn't exist as far as I know. I have some kind of marker that I should be putting on these that indicates that I fired those guns, which, here we go. Prep barrage launched. That would be what we're talking about here. The problem is, it's this big stack. I've got to put like 3 units under that to try to remind me. Yes, it's fine for these tiny scenarios. I don't even really need the counters for them. But when we start talking about that big map, this kind of information where it's really going to be necessary for the counters to be, it's going to create this clutter in the stacks. It's smaller counters than the rest of it. I don't know. It just feels so abominably painful to keep track of all the information that I have to. And the counters are a helpful thing, but it's just not a reasonable choice. A better choice might have been, these things have only one side, have a fired side. Okay, what's bad about that? Well, because we have to worry about these units that have a move and fire side to them. Well, I don't know. You know, maybe get rid of some of that. Figure that, reduce their movement rate and count in the fact that they'd have to, you know, limber and unlimber and everything. I just don't know. Obviously, you don't want the movement rates to be too low if they have to move a long distance, but trying to mark everything that fires with a counter is just kind of crazy shit. Kind of work as larger hexes so that I could split units out, put them under a marker, you know, and that kind of reminder. And I'm kind of doing that here. I managed to kill one of the I'm like making up names for them. One of the Belgian. I knew it started with a B. I wanted to call them Bavarians. Ooh, that's no good. Got a roll on the other one. Didn't manage to get that. Let's go with this one then. Kind of result with the lesser fire, I got a really lucky roll of 1, but the cab test was exactly the number I needed. If the heat had been in play, we would have been able to destroy that fortress because, of course, hot weather makes fortresses crumble quicker. I don't know. I'm assuming these are all the same type, this dark gray line. So that gets me there, and now I'll flip this over. Now I get to do the movement and the combat. Movement's important in that I got to remember to move that, but I also have other things to move, like this big gun here. And these are in these hexes. I'm trying to do this, see if this works at all. There's a little bit too much crowding for it to really be comfy. Try to damage both the Belgian units, I guess. I've got 2 units here. Those 2. Pull this out for now. Both have red artillery fire, which is interesting because that creates a better cab bonus. But I think I'm still better off going with the full strength. I could look and think about it pretty easily here. So I've got 67. I'd be facing 12 times. These are, I think, fully prepared now. I don't remember. I have to look at the fortresses when they... Is that on here? Belgian and French units can now more easily build fieldworks. That's not it. Namur's Enk is operational. That's this. I think that's what it is, but I'm not positive. I might just call out Namur. Like, there's something about fortifications that also aren't ready yet. A fortified zone isn't what this is. This is an Enk. And somewhere, after mobilization works are over, 11.65. That's going to be down here. Take some time for an Enk to be fully operational. On the game turn, you will find the turn number when mobilization works are over and defense is fully effective. Beyond that, okay, so I guess Namur maybe strengthens before regular. Yeah, okay. So now I'm facing that kind of prickly thing instead, which... Fuck. Okay, this is only an ABU. I did not fire at the unit. I could have fired at the units, to try to knock them back, try to weaken them. So no, that's not there. What is this? This is an attack. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for this other set of combat rules over here, the other kind of combat, where these are there and they provide a ×3 multiplier. Do they also provide a cab bonus? Maybe. I don't see a cab bonus there. So we'll ignore that. But, and doing stuff on video, I'm less effective than doing it not on video, for whatever that's worth. So yeah, I was looking at, what is it, 3767, I guess. These have fired. These have fired. They're on top of those, but I've got them in another hex because what can I do? Versus, and now I found out that the fort doesn't get bonused by the defensive structure. And it makes sense. It's just obnoxious. That's 12 times 3, 36. I gotta write these down. I can't tell shit. So I was at 67. Let's put it here. 67. I'm at 36 plus 5, 41. I'm not thrilled about this. And what did I have? 67 divided by 41. It sounds like a 2.5, but we'll see. Or a 1.5. Yeah, so I'm at 1.5 to 1. Now, then I look, do I have any bonuses? And unfortunately, because I fired both of these, I'm only attacking through the one hex, which means I don't get any other bonuses. This does not get halved. I don't get any column shifts. I get a 6, which is not a bad roll. I don't have any modifiers, right? Oh, tactical modifiers, maybe. Wait, I got GR and XI here. I gotta look and see if I've got anything near them. I have another unit of the 11th somewhere. Maybe it's under here. There it is. Okay, good. So I don't get that penalty. Forgot about that one. Okay, I think we're okay. So I have a 6 to the 1.5 to 1. I get a 0 plus 4 on the attacker, a .0, 0. Okay, so I have a plus 4 and then a .0, 0 on the defender, which means the Belgians are taking the hit, and that's important. Okay, we caused the second loss to the Belgians. We're not allowed to advance because there's still a fort there. And now we go to this other one, I figure out the odds on that. I'm at 68 to 43, but I'm going to use my one calculator shot because I've got these pioneers. I don't really want them to attack if they don't have to, because I don't want to make checks on them. My eye is giving out again. They're only worth 4 points each. So 68 divided by 43 gives me a 1.58. I'm going to drop one of them out of it. So it becomes 64 divided by 43. And did I guess right? I didn't. Now I'm down to 1 to 1. Oops. This is like line of sight shit. Not really 1 to 1. Oh wait, did I throw my artillery in? Yeah, I think so. I have this gun. This was 4 points there. So this is going to be 1.2 to 1. And again, I don't think there are any modifiers here. I don't know. I don't know because I don't know what my units are. Penalty because this fucker's involved. Well, his unit. So that's like, I hope just a +1. No, that's a +5. Good Lord. Okay, so I end up with a fucking 19, which is going to be garbage. That's a 0 -6, 0 -2. Not a good result. And I've got a pioneer involved. If I had put 2 in, this would have been better, but yeah. Well, it is what it is. So with the pioneer involved in it, that causes a -1 more. So that brings it to a -3, I think. I did throw some ARF in. Does that matter? Yeah. But I only threw 4 in, which doesn't help. So the Belgians are at a 9. Okay, they survived just fine, and unfortunately, I'm looking at a -6 on all these German units, which is going to be ugly. Not on the artillery, but... Oh, from the scenario rules, I'm not allowed more than 3 casualties. I just got my 3rd one. Whee! And now the Belgians get to shoot back. I've got to decide whether or not I want to fire that. Like, this alone could maybe hit a big hex here, and I've got 2 extra points in there as well. But I don't think I can make the 20 off of that, which is a problem. We gotta fold and fold and fold. Go with 12 because we can hit both of these with a 12. Do we have any modifiers? I don't know. We have to look. That's clear terrain. French and Belgian ABU launched with more than 1 unit. There's only 1 unit now because forts are no longer units. There's no artillery in there. Okay. I don't remember what I said. It's a 12. And it can hit the 2 units that are there. It could actually hit 3, but... yeah, that's not going to do. Okay. And so we move to turn 11, which is a heat turn again. We're going to pause again. This scenario only goes 1 more turn. I got a lot to do in 1 turn. These are hard to do. And these all come off. Actually, I cheated. No. I mean, maybe. But not with what I was thinking. Early night now. Oh, sometime past 10. I can tell because my neighbor's lights are out, but also because of what I was watching. I checked the time, whatever. I managed to get out and hang out at the sunset for a little bit. That was kind of cool. All right, let's do turn 10, I guess. This only goes... oh, this goes to turn 12. Okay. Oh, no, this is turn 11. Sorry. Oops. Yeah. Forgot to bring the French in. Oopsie. They wouldn't have gotten to do anything. Okay, I got choices there and a special rule. SSR 6. Exempted from line of communication. Yeah, they'd better be. They don't have a headquarters. AC 32 or AD 33. Now, I actually could attempt to fortify. AC 32 is up here. AD 33, I bet, is this one because they go opposite. I think I'm allowed to place it in trench, which feels weird because I wouldn't be able to do those if I was shipping somebody in by rail. I'll have to look at the entry rules again because they're so fucking crazy. Where I got that idea, it's not in here. It's certainly not in the general. Maybe it was in that first scenario that they can entrench. Yep, they can build field works. But also, it doesn't do a damn thing because I got like works already here. I don't think I can build field works there. I might as well put them in here. Now, unlike the Belgians, these don't have to run away. So, it looked hard enough before. Now it looks harder. Flip this guy over without noticing that he was dead. To restack all the units I unstacked, this guy just came in last turn, so this is his first chance to move. He's not going to get to fire. Shit. I mean, I just don't know. But I'll try to figure out my firing. Obviously, the ammo doesn't even matter. I'm tracking it, but it doesn't matter. Again, positioning units, this is actually off too. We managed to destroy all the forts that we're facing. This is a kind of big deal. I should have been assaulting the fort. It's not that big a thing. I didn't realize I got rid of this unit. But now I can throw these two units in to attack this. It's going to have penalties because it doesn't have the forts. I don't remember if that's just a cab penalty. Yeah, there's a cab penalty for that. Actually, no, this is only attacking the fortifications. It's not what I thought. Okay. So I tried the attack here. I wanted to do an assault here, but it really kind of doesn't make a difference. What's this guy? What's that? I didn't kill him. Okay, so I have to attack both. No problem. Actually, no, I don't know the answer to what I just said. I have to look here because maybe the fortifications have an impact here. I don't think they do. It just moved. There's probably a counter that says moved on it too. I'm going to put him under the fire prep just so I remember that he's not able to be thrown in. About a +1 I should have gotten from attacking from a second hex with this one, which I did last time. Oh well. But this time I rolled a terrible roll with the +4 due to this stupid unit being over there. I get to the 23. I'm again on the 1.2. Okay, I was wrong. I get as O -5, O -3, which is what I wrote first, but then I ended up looking at 1 to 1.2 because such a big combat results table. So -5, whatever I had before. I don't know. I ended up with a -9 something. -5, -3. Still bad for the attacker. The -3 ends up going to a -4 for the heat. But is there anything else? I didn't fire any red ARFs in there. But there is a PO. -5. This is not this, I think. I could look it up, but I don't want to. I'm pretty sure it's just the forts. That's not this. Okay. -5. So I couldn't have done the assault. All right, so the French take a hit, or sorry, the Belgians take a hit. They're going to have to leave on their turn. And now we go on to the French, which should be a much, much better attack because I'm only attacking 12 strength points there. So I should have probably thrown something in over here for better odds. But I got to check the Germans. Okay, so the Germans were at, I don't remember. See, I wrote things down, but then I had to cross them out because I looked on the wrong column. But I know where I am. 23, minus 3, minus 5 on the Germans. I think we lose the game here probably. Oops, we got to look for this. That's not this. There's just so much here. Okay, so that puts it to minus 6. This is for my other pioneer. Hey, he's cool. And then for the other 2 units. Why was I at minus 5, minus 6, somewhere around there? I don't know. That doesn't sound right. I should be at like minus 3, minus 4. Right? No, minus 5 was my... No, minus 5 was the defender. Yeah, I'm at minus 3. Okay. So minus 4 on these. Top one will be the black one. That's going to be a hit because I'm only a 13. 4 off. It drops it down to a 9. So this one I have to replace. That loses me the game. This other one I have to replace. That takes me another loss. French got the worst result out of the 2. So they actually had to check first. They took a step loss, so they actually retreat as well. Oh no, those are Belgians. Wait, these are French. Oh no, these are the Belgians. The Belgians had to retreat. I'll just drop them there. But, I mean, these 2 losses lose me the game. I gotta hunt these pieces down to find their other version. That's gonna be a real pain. Like, I'm gonna have, basically there's very few pieces in each, like each core has 2 pieces in it. So, like sorting them is going to be something of a nightmare. I guess I'll sort them by army, but there are units that aren't in an army that I don't know how I'm going to arrange. It's the nightmare of multiple pieces. Now, I did it by number for distant foreign fields, and I guess I can do it by unit number as well. But I'm just going to have tons and tons of counter trays of units as far as I can tell. Because it's not going to be, and they're not going to be thin like in distant foreign fields either. So, not that that matters too much. But I'm just picturing like each army is going to have its own little slot or something. Advance those damaged units in, and these guys, fuck. I don't know. How do you keep these things from flipping and jumping around? It just... and these guys did their job too. But now I have the assault here as well. There would have been a huge modifier for going across this river. So, kind of like... I guess I could have moved a unit. I don't know, but it's just annoying. Right now I'm like on the 5-to-1 table against this thing. And I don't know, are there any modifiers? I don't remember. Like I keep calculating these out, but I have to go through the whole list each time because I just can't remember them. My brain doesn't work that way. I'm only hitting through one hex this time. And I don't have the core problem this time. So I don't remember. I'm at like 5-to-1. I guess at normal I roll a die. That's a 9. And we go over to good stuff. The attacker takes a +7. The defender takes 2 automatic steps and a -3. This thing has no steps. I totally over fired on this. I should have moved a different unit, but I don't know. No, I don't remember what my number was. That was a 9 out here. That's going to be a +7, so I'm at 20. I can't fail. I'm at 19 on that. Oh, wait, there's heat. We're okay. And then these advance. I get rid of all these pre-fire markers. I'm not going to have all that heavy artillery to deal with this. So, I mean, not only am I going to lose due to casualties, I don't think that I can kill the 3 forts. Well, wait, the Belgian unit goes away, so I can do assault attacks, and I do have a pioneer. Maybe. Maybe. Speaking of which, on the Belgian turn, we run away. Fine. And we go to the last turn of the game. Gonna break here because each turn, even on this tiny little map, feels like an ordeal. Whatever it's worth, you know, the practice, yeah, I'm getting more comfortable, but I'm still not able to strategize. I'm still not able to try to optimize what forces. I mean, there's no strategy in this really, but I'm still not able to do the tactical optimization to try to get my forces, and I can't remember, you know. And I don't know if I ever would, is the point. And the reason for that is lack of caring to a large extent. Like, I'm fiddling around with so much shit that I don't give a shit about, that, and so much work going into reading the charts each time. I just stop, you know, wanting to engage, you know. So even when I'm getting more comfortable and not having to look up rules each time, or at least not as much, I'm still miserable with this. Like, it is so not the way I want to play a game. I'm not, it's not like I'm into lighter stuff in general. It's that I'm not into this kind of mechanical, obnoxious stuff for issues that I don't really give a shit about. And I can see other factors coming in. Like, you know, right now I only have a few pieces on the board and I can hunt through the countermix and replace them easily enough. I'm not sure that that's going to work particularly easily. I've got units that I've moved off their hex because that's the only way I can play this, right? And it's causing issues. You know, that thing was in the wrong hex again. It's just, yeah. I mean, even with these small little scenarios, I'm like, this is not fun. This is not fun. Who finds this fun? Some people, not me. Well, the scenario's over, and these little ones, they kind of evoke some of the feeling that like a Panzer Blitz or squad leader type scenario does, with one little map, and I'm moving a few units, trying to get some exact, you know, special victory conditions, and as soon as they're over, it's like, okay, fuck it, you know, because there's no, in those games, to me, there's no story at all. All I'm doing is playing a game. I'm trying to optimize to get my victory conditions, but here I'm trying to learn something, but also, there is already some story. You know, I'm seeing the unfolding of larger units operating, and some of me wants to, you know, just beat up on those Belgian forts, and also to see, can I take them, you know. So I actually held off. I was very tired last night, so I didn't come down and finish this up and load it up then. I've got to do, I got to get out again today, but I want to get this out before then, at least. So let's try screwing around with some German units, frustrating myself with the system maybe. We'll see. The immediate problem that comes up, I think I might be able to fire at half strength or at reduced effectiveness at a couple of these forts. They're right around that halfway point. This one almost certainly. This one more questionably. But I have no artillery that's in range. Now, this is the last turn of the game, right? Or is it? Yeah, this is the last turn of the game. I've kind of rushed what felt fairly hard to me. I took losses, but I have almost no chance to take these. These scenarios are tough. They're not just, I don't know. Maybe they're meant, So, basically what I'm looking at is, look, if I'm going to be playing the big game, and I still have that in mind, if I'm going to be playing the big game, I'm going to be behind schedule because I can't make the schedules on these scenarios. I feel like that the victory conditions on these should be more or less, this is what is kind of expected. Maybe with a little bit of luck. And instead I'm getting, Jesus, I got no idea how I can how I can beat the time limits on these things. The one I managed to scrape out a victory with the Germans. I'm not sure whether I was cheating or not, but in terms of like pushing all my units off the map. I don't remember the first one. The French had trouble in the first one. Whoever's on the attack is having huge problems in this because the attack is just harder. The defender isn't doing anything in any of these scenarios. And I'm just having a really hard time manipulating the units and getting anything like the results I want out of them. A game in which the attacker's position is that much harder to play than the defender position kind of bugs me. But, that's going to be this scenario in a lot of ways, the August 14 scenario. Whoever's on the attack is trying to do something impressive. The other person really isn't. But I'm used to, like, the defender at least having to kind of set up and work to do something kind of valuable. These little scenarios, I don't have to do that at all. So there are no mistakes by the defender, basically. And the attacker, I have no idea what optimal play is. And I'm not feeling like I'm learning it. I'm playing this as well as I can. And I'm like, yeah, I don't see how you take that last hex. Among other things, it's across the river. But the big thing is, I need the artillery. I've got one pioneer that can try an assault, and I can try assaults with the other unit with the other artillery, the two big siege guns. Frustration of what you look at and say, I'm not sure what I did terribly wrong here. I don't feel like I had a lot of options. Kind of just piles on top of the already huge frustration of, wow, this system is no fun to play. I'm hating all these lookups. Just the lookups on the chart. Fuck the rules. Say I'm getting the rules now. Just the lookups on the charts to check all the modifiers and everything again and again. The complex combat table, having to write down what should be kind of simple combat results in a lot of ways. I'm feeling myself overwhelmed with the amount of effort I'm putting in for, not a lot of fun coming out of that effort. And, I'll compare this, again, to things like the Empires in Arms or Le Grand Guerre combat systems, which are equally, painful in terms of having to write things down, make multiple rolls, do stuff. But I feel like I'm getting a cool story out of that combat system. Here, it's fucking operational stuff. That's just a problem for me. I'm just not that into it, and I'm not willing to play, this level of detail on that. But I'm also not willing to play this level of detail on this stuff, well, I don't know about level of detail. I'm not willing to cope with huge lists of modifiers for almost anything, even like tactical battles, as we saw in Summerstorm. But then add to that even when I do feel like I'm getting a reasonable grasp, I'm just not able to accomplish what seems like it's what the purpose of the scenario is. Because there's no way you would play this scenario, right? One side is doing nothing. The only reason to play this is, so there's two things to see about it. One is it a learning scenario? That's what it calls itself. In which case the goal should be a reasonable one that you can achieve. Or it's like this really tough solitaire puzzle. Now, it may kind of be both, and that's what worries me, is that the game itself is a really tough puzzle for whoever's on the attack. How to, optimize their forces so exactly and so carefully. And yeah, I just don't see it. I mean, I'm okay with the losses I took. I felt like those were kind of, a crapshoot. I'm not okay with the fact that I don't think I can take this X. That's just really disturbing me on a different level. A little edge of the scenario problem here. Oh, I can't win. My pioneers are too far away. They didn't get to advance into here. I'm not sure why. I think they should have. I think they should have. I'm going to put them in. I'm going to cheat them in. Because otherwise I have absolutely no chance. I can only take out... Well, I have some. I could kill something through overage. If I were playing out the next turn properly, I would be moving these artillery around to get them into place. I might even not be doing this long-range shot, but the scenario is insisting that I do for a chance at victory. But none of these things matter. So I've got a lot of pieces. If I do what I would do, in terms of the game, I'm just cluttering and making the world uglier. So I'm going to skip that and just do the attacks. I have 2 units in here along with the Pioneer. Over here, I have 2 units that add 2 firepower. So I'm actually going to use these as assault artillery as well, and use the 2 units that are underneath as my spearheads along with the Pioneers. I'll try to decide. I can look at the ABF table and see. So I'm most it's not this, it's this way. I'm most worried about the Pioneer, which can get to 14. Those 2 extra units can get it to an 18. So I'm going to use these 2 artillery to support the Pioneer as well as its own. I don't know, because that whole 14 thing is weird. Like, I've looked at this before and I don't understand it. It has 4 firepower to put it here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Gets it to the 14 column. 4 doesn't get me any hits on these other things. I just don't know. The way it's worded, it doesn't make any sense, and so I'm trying to assume that, yes, it can hit that 14 column. But that's all it gets. It doesn't get its modifiers, and it doesn't get that on the artillery alone. Its artillery alone is only a 4. So going from the 14 to the 18 seems reasonable. These guys are on the 40 table with infantry going in. I hope these are A and B ranked. It's not these, it's these guys. Gotta paw through everything again and again to find all the information, different sized counters. And I get why different sized counters, but it's just mechanically this shit doesn't work. So I don't remember my number here. It was on the 40. Are they both? Yes. I thought something was on the 60. Look, I'm knocking shit over everywhere. See, those 2 points would be useful on these two, and if I could get it to 42, I can't get a red dot off any of this. Oh, but I can. 1, 2, 3, 4. This might actually be better. I'm going to throw 2 points in there. I'm not going to support the Pioneer. I'm going to throw 2 points in here. Now, I have a problem, which is it's long-range fire, which means +5. That means I have almost no chance of hitting it. But the difference between the 14 and the 18 is pretty minimal. Whereas the difference between, what was I at? 42, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this would be the difference between these two. I don't know. I'm going to do the big attacks because I feel like I have more of a chance of getting lucky. But with that long-range fire, I don't know. So the first one. Well, that's a good roll. That is an excellent roll. So we were on like the 94. 1, 2, 3, 4. I rolled a 1 plus 5 is 6. That gets me an auto hit and a -1 on one of these. We'll do it on the one the big artillery isn't firing at, the one the Pioneers are firing at, which means this is a heat turn. We had a -1. We have another -1 for heat. Do we have anything else? We have not killed 50% of the fortifications yet, which is unfortunate. What the hell is that? Okay. So I think we're at -2, which puts us at a 13. That's a fair chance. We destroy another one. That puts us in really good shape. Now, the Pioneers can't attack this one. That's key. But I'm once again on that same chart because I have another 2 firepower here. And I got a pretty good chance. It is still a +5. Okay, not so good. That's a 13. That puts me here. I don't remember the modifier. Here it is. It's -2. So I was on the 94 at 13. That means I'm at this column at 11. So it's a -12. He has a 3. Luckily it's heat, and there is... I don't remember what was going on. He had a 3. The heat drops it down to a 2. So I'm good there. There was something else that drops it. The fortifications drop it another 6. So this is pretty much gone. And that means all the Germans get to advance. And I feel a lot better. I did take 5 casualties, so I lose the scenario. But at least I got the hexes in the time required. I may not have gotten the right unit in the right place. What is it? 14 RD is present in Namur. 14 RD. Now this is weird. I would want to put the 13 RD. Oh no, 14 RD is his match. I did get him in Namur. What I was going to say is, if I didn't get him in, it's because I didn't move in, because I didn't want to clutter the combats by piling more shit into the hexes. So we've got a loss on Namur, but again, I feel like I'm getting better with the system and being able to cope with it. I don't feel like I'm learning anything about the strategy, and I'm feeling very discouraged about my ability to do so because of my difficulty in getting this one. But on the other hand, we did take the 3 hexes with the long range fire. I guess the big thing is all that big firepower that hit me on that on the second to last turn or whatever is where I was able to actually get that into play. I don't think these are particularly difficult puzzles. I think they're just difficult scenarios. Like the factor of getting in there is just hard. But that's discouraging. That's discouraging. I don't know. Like, I feel like something should say something about it. Like, don't be too discouraged if you can't quite meet the victory conditions. They're hard or something. I don't know. Because it did feel, and to some extent, the losses I took on that first turn, some of them were luck. But I think keeping it limited to 3 is going to be really, really hard. Anyway, let me load this up. And pretty sure we're going to get to that next one, this Around the Marshes of St. Gond. Like, I feel like I need to play these until I start feeling like I'm really comfortable. And, this is the opposite of what I do in most games. Most games I really like to jump into the grand campaign and not play a lot of scenarios. But I am so uncomfortable with manipulating the units in the scenarios that I just don't feel, I feel like I'm going to have a multiplicatively bad experience on the Grand Campaign. Plus, I got to grab something to eat before I go out and whatnot. But anyway, no more going up.